I mean, you, the United States, and the allies of the United States, who also provide this long-range weapons to the Kiev regime, they must understand that we would be ready to use any means not to allow them to succeed in what they call strategic defeat of Russia. We are sending signals, and we hope that the last one, a couple of weeks ago, the signal with the new weapon system called the Reshnik,
Yes.
was taken seriously. I mean, you, the United States, and the allies of the United States, who also provide this long-range weapons to the Kiev regime, they must understand that we would be ready to use any means not to allow them to succeed in what they call strategic defeat of Russia.
Прям стал обвинять своих хозяев в том, что они его оставляют безоружным перед лицом такой вот акции со стороны Российской Федерации. Ну, наверное, это полезный результат, потому что уж чего-чего, а хотя бы быть поближе к реальности, ощущать ее на своей шкуре, я бы сказал, это уже полезно.
I consider it possible to place such complexes as the Oreshnik on the territory of the Republic of Belarus.
Поскольку мы сегодня подписали договор о гарантиях безопасности с применением всех имеющихся сил и средств, то считаю размещение таких комплексов, как Орешник, на территории Республики Беларусь возможно. Это станет возможным, думаю, во второй половине следующего года. По мере наращивания выпуска таких комплексов, серийного выпуска этих комплексов в России и по мере поступления этих ракетных систем на вооружение российских войск стратегического назначения. Нашу особую озабоченность, естественно, вызывает положение дел в европейском регионе, в частности, конечно, на Украине. Страны Запада намеренно обостряют напряженность. Именно они довели до сегодняшней трагедии и продолжают обострять ситуацию. Подобная безответственная политика подталкивает мир на грань глобального конфликта. Мы знаем, и в таких условиях вполне логично, что сегодня мы подпишем межгосударственный договор о гарантиях безопасности в рамках союзного государства. Он определяет взаимные союзнические обязательства по обеспечению обороны, защиту суверенитета, независимости и конституционного строя России и Белоруссии, целостности и неприкосновенности территории и внешней границы союзного государства, причем с задействованием всех имеющихся сил и средств. Речь в том числе идет и о российском тактическом ядерном оружии, расположенном по предложению президента Беларуси на территории.
President-elect Trump is weighing in on the unrest in Syria, saying the United States should stay out of it. A rebel insurgence has reached the gates of the capital city of Damascus, forcing the government defenses out of homes.
Let's bring you some of the latest pictures coming to us from the Syrian capital, Damascus. And this is the presidential palace, which would have been home to Bashar al-Assad, but evidently he's not there anymore. He has fled the country. We don't know to where. And as you can see, people have decided that they're going to go in and have a look and well, potentially take things. I mean, you can see just how many people are in there. We don't know exactly who they are, whether they're the rebels who have taken Damascus or people who are already there and want to have a look. But these are the latest pictures coming to us from Damascus, the Syrian capital. And this is the presidential palace, which would have been the seat of power for Bashar al-Assad. But his family's 54-year rule over Syria looks to now be at an end.
The resurgence of fighting in Syria has brought into focus the role of foreign powers in the country, with many having deployed troops since 2011. Who are the foreign armies involved in Syria? Turkey has deployed troops across northwestern Syria in support of the 2011 rebel uprising against President Bashar al-Assad. Turkey wants to weaken Syrian Kurdish armed groups which carved out autonomous enclaves along the Turkish border during the civil war. Ankara views the groups as an extension of the Kurdish Workers' Party, which it deems a terrorist group and has been waging an insurgency in Turkey since 1984. It also wants a return home for some 3 million Syrians who have fled to Turkey during the war. Turkey has mounted multiple operations in Syria involving thousands of troops since 2016. Iran deployed its Revolutionary Guards to Syria as early as 2012 to help Assad. Lebanon's Hezbollah, which is backed by Iran, played a big part. For Iran, Assad is a crucial ally, part of its axis of resistance to Israel and US influence in the Middle East. Other Tehran-backed Shiite Islamist groups from Afghanistan and Iraq have also played a vital combat role. Iran's presence in Syria has been a big point of concern for Israel, prompting it to carry out frequent airstrikes. Russian forces have had a presence militarily in Syria since the Cold War, but intervened on Assad's side in 2015. Coordinating with Iran, they operated from an airbase in Latakia province, with Russian air power decisively tilting the conflict Assad's way. On the ground, Russian troops are involved in government-held areas, with military police deployed during attempts to de-escalate fighting. US military intervention in Syria began in 2014 against the Islamic State jihadist group that had declared its rule over a third of Syria and Iraq. Working with the Syrian Democratic Forces, they fought to drive Islamic State from areas it had captured in Syria's north and east. Declaring the battle with Islamic State almost won, President Donald Trump announced in 2018 he wanted to pull out US troops, but the plan was softened after facing criticism for leaving a void that Iran and Russia would fill. Around 9,000 US troops remain in Syria to support the SDF. Assad's government views the US forces as occupiers.
It was an accident by one airplane for one split second. It was 4 airplanes that's been kept attacking the position of the Syrian forces for nearly 1 hour.
لأية قيادة يختارها الشعب السوري، ونحن مستعدون للتعاون معها بحيث نقدم لهم كل التسهيلات الممكنة، وبحيث يتم نقل الملفات الحكومية المختلفة بشكل سليم.
And seeing news reports is not really helping. Now, with the benefit of X and other social media platforms, we can see videos emerging from these locations during the war, which gives us a general idea of what is true and what is not. That being said, I read these news reports, I see what Joe Biden is saying, and for all we know, the U.S. has already secured certain areas. They're not going to tell us. We're not going to know. So, in that regard, the first and most obvious thing is the greatest probability in all of this is that we will be caught off guard as regular old civilians watching the news, having no idea what's going on. There is another possibility, and the scary one is that this escalates. With Russia being forced to evacuate Tartus, their naval base, they're now at risk of losing access to the Mediterranean entirely. Of course, they have access to the Black Sea and other areas, but they'd have to rebuild new ports. And with the expansion of this war and Ukrainian forces and Western forces in support of Ukraine, I'll be nice, attacking Russia, things are getting crazy. But Russia appears to be routed. Losing this naval base is massive. So based on the cursory information we can get as regular old people read the news, well, it seems like Russia's not in a good spot. From here, we can see another couple of possibilities. Russia reacts rather negatively. We already know that North Korea is sending troops in to aid Russia. Russia may say to China, look, we go down, you go down next. We have to come together. I mean, the BRICS nations may say no to all of this, but who knows? Some of these countries may simply be saying, do we want to go up against the United States and the Western forces? I'm not so sure. But, oh boy. We are now learning that Taiwan is on high alert because China's deployed a bunch of warships. China wants to seize control of Taiwan. There's tremendous resources and technology, and they claim that island as their own. Of course, Taiwan is actually the original government of China that was forced out of China by the communists. But, yeah, that's all in the past, to be honest. So what we're looking at now is China has a strong interest in assisting Russia to keep Western forces occupied in the Middle East and Eastern Europe so that they can move in on Taiwan. It's not so simple, however, because the U.S. is still engaged in the Pacific and Australia and the U.S. have been aligned. Japan, South Korea, there is a strong potential that this would not go so easily for China if they keep the fight, even if they keep the fight in Eastern Europe. But now with the fall of Syria, it's an exacerbation of potential conflicts, and I got to say, it's quite worrying. My friends, let's break this down. The first news, I think, the important news, not this article. I got so much on this, so much going on here. I think I can just report. I mean, the Assad regime, rebels broke their way to Damascus, the capital. After seeing Homs fall, Homs, how you pronounce it, it was fairly obvious to a lot of